Right, guys, let's dive in. First and foremost, I'm Dan. This is my first video that I've done on YouTube. I've boxed on and off all my life, probably since I was 12 or 13 years old. I was a fan of the sport. Before that, I grew up in Rotherham and all my family watched Prince Nassim and Mike Tyson. Those were the first guys that I came across boxing. I actually got into Dave Caldwell's gym, who's a very renowned trainer these days. But back then he just had a little gym up on Manor in Sheffield. Mum took me there and quit after probably maybe a few months actually, because I injured my hand and I thought boxing wasn't for me. Since then, I've had a number of bouts and I've followed the sport since. Absolutely love boxing, real boxing, true boxing. Not crossover boxing. Not to disrespect those guys. I think fair play to anyone that is getting in the ring. I've been in the ring myself, but I've never been in the AO Arena in front of 21,000 and fought. And remember, these guys aren't boxers. Their profession, their expertise is doing things like this. I suppose this is me joining their world now, right? So for them to sell out these arenas, to get in the ring in front of these people, that itself I do believe is amazing. However, the controversy around KSI and Tommy Fury I do not agree with. I think the right person won, and I want to tell you guys why that is. I also want to touch on the Logan Paul and Dillon Danis fight, because I don't believe that was a as bad of a fight as what everyone made it out to be. And reason being, I'll just start with that one now, but Logan Paul couldn't finish a man who was 20 pounds lighter than him, or is naturally 20 pounds lighter than him, and wasn't throwing anything back. Logan Paul still couldn't get him out of there. I didn't think that he looked great. I don't think he was planting his shots. I think Jake Paul is definitely the better brother. And by no means is this me slating those guys. I think Prime and what KSI and Logan Paul have achieved there is absolutely amazing. They're sponsoring some of the biggest football clubs in the world. They've got some of the best athletes on board. I think what they do on YouTube as well. This video will probably get 2 views in the next 20 years, whereas KSI gets 20 million views in the first 2 minutes. He has built an incredible personal brand. However, what they are doing in boxing, I am going to, or potentially may pick apart, but it's not because I hate them. So the Logan Paul, I noticed he wasn't planting his feet. He wasn't rotating properly. He left his hands very, very low. I was potentially shouting for someone who had some knowledge to step slightly off to the right in that southpaw stance and throw a straight left down the middle. I thought Logan Paul was open to that all night. I also thought that he was open to Dillon did actually catch him with it once, but he threw 6 punches all of the fight. Not to mention the punches that he threw after the bell as well. Nevertheless, I thought the fight was entertaining, but Logan didn't hurt Dillon. Dillon kept coming forward. Yes, he was taunting. It reminded me very much of the Nate Diaz and Jake Paul fight, where Nate was doing the same. However, Nate did push the pace a little bit more. But I thought Logan should have got him out there. He's naturally the bigger man. I thought he had more to lose. And truthfully, I thought if Dillon really did want to, or if he just, for whatever reason, I don't know why he didn't do this, but if he actually started to let his hands go, I thought Logan was there. I thought he was too exposed. He got caught with the overhand lead hook. I thought that was a great shot to catch him with. He kept coming in. When Logan kept coming in, he would do what every novice does, which is lower the right, extend with a jab to the body, push their head out, or he would do it like that where he steps off. And I thought that would be not only again for that shot there, but someone could time that with a backhand shot as well. I also think that Dillon didn't mind being hit. In fact, he looked like he quite enjoyed it. And I think that's maybe the MMA mentality of, those guys will just walk forward, they'll kick each other as they walk forward, they'll stand sometimes almost forehead to forehead you go, I go exchanges. Now Logan didn't give Dillon the opportunity to do that, but I don't believe that Dillon had an issue with being hit. In fact, I almost thought it was like bragging rights for him being hit, because he was like, hey, look, you're the bigger guy, you're this WWE superstar, you're going to knock me out, you're not actually hurting me at all. Now, there were points in the fight that Logan came through the guard and caught him clean, and I thought, yeah, Dillon doesn't want to take too many of those, but he still came forward after that. Whereas Logan, when Dillon hit him, and even if he, in an ideal world, not an ideal world, but imagine if Dillon did step off slightly to the right with a jab and then came with either, something looping or straight, I don't think that Logan would have liked that. I don't think he likes being hit. Whereas Dillon he looked like he quite enjoyed it. So I don't think the fight was as bad as what everyone said. I thought the whole card start to finish, I think, what was it here in the UK, £20. I thought it was amazing. I thought the Salt Pappy and Slim fight was great. I thought the Dean the Great fight, those guys were absolute warriors. I think that they could do well in the pro ranks. I think that they could do very well. The guy that Dean fought, I can't remember his name, but his chin, he just kept coming forward. There was points in that fight where I thought, this kid's out on his feet, he's concussed, he doesn't know where he is. I was actually saying to my partner, I'm worried that he has like a bleed on the brain or something, because he doesn't look all there in his eyes as he's coming forward, and it's almost just like autopilot for him to keep fighting. Luckily, that hasn't been the case. And whether it was just him being a little bit hazy, 1 minute I thought, this guy's concussed, we need to get the towel in. The next minute he's throwing shots and he's wobbling Dean, and I'm thinking, fuck is happening? But this is boxing, or that was boxing, and that's why we love it. So those guys put on a great performance. But back to the Logan Paul and Dillon Danis fight, I didn't think it was as boring as what everyone made it out to be. Yes, Dillon didn't throw as much. The first 2 rounds there was a bit of Dillon pretending to pull guard, lying on his back. But then after that, the other rounds, I was thinking, Dillon, you need to really push the pace now. And it got quite frustrating, if anything. I didn't want my money back. I was actually entertained watching it, but I just wanted more. I wanted Dillon to let his hands go, because I thought Logan was so there to be hit. But Logan did well. He fought at range. I do really just think that if he's such a big guy, he's gonna have power. I think if he learns how to actually plant his feet, or even just sit into a shot and use his knees and hips, I think when the times where Dillon was like this against the ropes, I think that he could have really, really hurt Dillon and got him out of there. But I also thought that he only let punches go in maybe 1, 2 or 3s. Not really more, there maybe have been 1 or 2 occasions where he let a 4th or 5th shot go. But really, I think that was because he just didn't like to be hit, or, he was so cautious of, oh, Dillon could throw something back here. And that's why when you got him against the ropes, he was bang, 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 and then step back. It's not a bad strategy, but I think, after 4 rounds of Dillon not really throwing much, if he really just planted his feet, I think he could have really got Dillon out of there. Now, the main event, KSI and Tommy Fury, everyone's been saying KSI should have won. Everyone's been saying that Tommy Fury is not this professional boxer that he's made out to be. First and foremost, Tommy Fury is a guy that is learning on the job, and that just so happens to be in front of 21,000 people in a sold-out Manchester arena, whilst millions are watching and streaming online. So, do I think it was Tommy's best performance? No. Do I think that the right man won? Yes. I thought that KSI made the fight almost impossible for either of them to get off their work. It was Michael Venom Page was in his corner, who has a very unorthodox style, and it was very MVP-esque. As soon as he started doing star jumps, I actually thought of Michael Venom Page in Bellator, And my first impression was Tommy just needs to stay on the outside and actually just wait for KSI to come in. The issue that we would have there is if you've got KSI just doing this and he's waiting for Tommy to come in, and then Tommy thinks, okay, well, I'm going to play my game and not let you play yours, I don't think either of them would have thrown a punch all night. So in an ideal world, Tommy would have stayed, waited for KSI, or he'd have tried to at least get past the star jumps and just land jabs. Just jab him. Don't even try and go forward. Tommy, and he's been guilty of this in all of his other fights, of 1-1 and then stepping in with that big cross overhand right. I honestly believe that, I'm not sure what they were saying to Tommy in his corner on the night, but I honestly believe that if he just jabbed him and didn't let KSI, what happened was Tommy got frustrated and ended up coming in, and then he got really sloppy. Tommy should have frustrated KSI by not really coming in, by causing KSI to come in, because he's just taking so many jabs to the face that KSI has to then come in, and Tommy can either step back and counter, he can step in when KSI tries to step in, whatever it may be, but it would have been on Tommy's terms. And that's really the fight that we should have all seen. But the fight that we got was KSI wanting to keep at range, wanting to throw something when Tommy came in, and then try and make it messy on the inside. Now there's clips going, round online. First and foremost, in the first round, where everyone's saying Tommy got rocked by an overhand right of JJ's. KSI threw a very extended 1-2, and Tommy, it hit his neck, yes, but Tommy was moving back as he did, and they're both going with momentum. And short story, guys, is he wasn't rocked. He was moving back, KSI was moving forward, and you had 21,000 people stand up saying, oh, which makes you think that they got rocked or hit or something. Tommy came straight back forward, back in his stance. He was absolutely fine. Now, am I against KSI? I don't like his fight style. I don't like how he says legacy, and he's the whole I see John Cena and the WWE attitude. I actually think he's been using DAZN and Misfits to propel himself into a career in WWE. I genuinely do believe that. And I think KSI and Logan have been having conversations behind the scenes saying, hey, look, if you want to get into this space, you need to start, making a name for yourself, putting on a show, proving with the numbers that we do on the DAZN card and the Prime card that, the WWE should take you seriously or whatever. I know he's been on WWE before in a Prime bottle and he got jumped on or something. I'm not really sure how that stuff works. But my point being is I do believe that he's been using Misfits and DAZN to kind of exaggerate his personality, because I'm not quite sure how you can truly, I saw something where he said that, he feels like he can fight the Canelos and the Beterbievs, and I understand that that's self-belief, that's confidence. I also may have that confidence when I'm in the zone, but it actually happening, it's a completely different story. So I'm not a fan of KSI, or at least the personality that I've seen in KSI and Misfit and DAZN. Do I think what he does elsewhere is great? Yes, 100%. But I just don't believe that how he's carried himself in this whole DAZN and Misfit space is A, who he really is, and B, I just think it sends the wrong message. I get he's a little kid from YouTube, that he's, I'm a little kid from YouTube that's gone with a professional boxer. You survive with a professional boxer because you held on and threw, very, very messy shots. Any boxer will tell you it's very hard sometimes to not come down to someone's level and box at their level when you've got someone in front of you that don't know what they're doing. They do the most unorthodox, random things, and it's actually quite risky for a boxer to fight those people, because if you've got a boxer in front of you, if I'm in my orthodox stance here, if you've got a boxer in front of you and you're quite close, let's say you're in range, gloves are touching, and you're looking to get off work, a lot of boxers will know how to stand there on balance, get off their shots, protect themselves. A YouTuber, their instinct is to, they will just hug. They will throw shots like this. Even if we were glove to glove, a boxer will think, well, my range here right now, I can't throw a 1-2 straight. I can't throw an overhand right here because I'm in range. Whereas a YouTuber will just think, I'm going to throw anything in this position. And what you find there is that's where shots come to the back of the head. And I know people were saying about Tommy Fury hitting KSI on the back of the head. He got a point deducted after, I think it may have been one warning. But when you've got a boxer that's just going like this into your chest, and the only, if you're trying to get off your work then hit the guy, and the only available target is the back of the head, that's not Tommy's fault. Tommy doesn't want to hit him on the back of the head. Tommy's trying to get off his work, but KSI was making it so messy. And the warning, I don't think it should have been a point deducted. I thought the commentary was against, if you listen to the commentary back, it is all pro KSI. I thought KSI was going to get the decision from round 2 onwards because of how everyone was talking. And I actually said on the night, they will give this to KSI. It's so close, but it's so close because neither of them were able to do any work. I've watched it back 3 times since. I think the right man won. It's not a performance that I would be bragging about, and I know Tommy's not bragging about it. I have no affiliate to Tommy. It's just that I think everyone's kind of shitting on him, saying, oh, Tommy was this, he's supposed to be a professional boxer. Tommy didn't fight his fight. He fought KSI's fight. He made it harder for himself than he needed to be, and it was just a messy shit show. But KSI can't expect to win a fight when he's got one arm tied up and he's just swinging from the rafters. You wouldn't find that in boxing. I've never seen amateurs hold on to one of their, if they're getting their work off, it may be short shots like this. There was a moment in the fight where Tommy was holding on, and he was holding on rightfully so because KSI was swinging he was holding one of Tommy's arms and swinging the biggest shots. And I was thinking, you just wouldn't see this in boxing. It is wild. And if one of those shots come up, it's then Tommy on the back of the head, and he was swinging so aggressively. And obviously to an audience that doesn't know boxing, or, that could have been an MMA audience. If you've got someone in clinch and you're swinging like this, the crowd just wants to see a fight. I get it, But Tommy, the only real risk that Tommy had there was that something would come round and hit him in the head. That was the only real risk. I don't think KSI landed any clean shots. I don't think Tommy really landed any clean shots, but he did step forward. He was pushing the pace. I just think he played KSI's fight. There was no need for him to even consider using his right hand. I think he mentioned at the end of the fight, I couldn't use my right. To be honest, he didn't even need that right hand. He could have literally just jabbed KSI and got the fight finished with stiff jabs because KSI's face may have been too busted up to continue. That's how Tommy should have fought that fight. But when you've got 21,000 people there in front of you screaming, someone in front of you doing star jumps, it's frustrating. You want to make a statement. You want to get them out of there. You often, as I said, end up fighting at their level. And Dominic Ingles just done a great interview on YouTube talking about a time where Brendan Ingle brought people in to come and fight Johnny Nelson off the street because they thought it was so bad. But then when he dropped them, the queue suddenly just vanished. And he says in that interview that it's often, or his dad Brendan often said, it's harder to fight the man that doesn't know how to fight than the man that does, because they just, you saw this in the SX fight. There was a point in the first fight on the card, there was a point where the SX guy turns round and starts running. And then there was another point in the fight where he just turns around completely. Now I've experienced that in white collar, and it's just you don't know what to do in them situations. And KSI is almost like that. Although he didn't turn his back in the fight, yes, but they just do random things, bringing knees up to protect themselves because they almost want to go into a fetal position, running around. The Anthony Taylor guy, the OnlyFans guy in the pink shorts, he did this. He ran away at one point from, I think, a guy called King Kenny. they do very random things. So I don't think that Tommy is a bad boxer. I think he would do much better against someone that actually knows what they're doing. I thought that he fought KSI's fight, and I think that really, other than the work that KSI did on the inside, like, he didn't really do anything to warrant a win. He got the point deducted, which I think personally KSI should have also had a point deducted, because it was a case of, I mean, you get this sometimes. I think it was Galahad and Warrington, their fight. Sometimes you just get styles that just don't make good fights, and Warrington being orthodox, Galahad being southpaw, anytime they stepped in, it'd be hugging. Okay, split up. Step in, hugging, split up. Sometimes you just get those fights, and this was definitely one of those fights. I don't think there's any grounds for an appeal. I don't think that there should even be a rematch. I think, you know, if there was to be a rematch, we're just gonna either see a repeat, or we're going to just see Tommy landing a jab, and then they'll hug, try and get off some crazy work on the inside, and then, you know, pretty much the same outcome. I think KSI should fight Jake Paul. I would really be interested to see what Jake Paul would do in those scenarios. Got to remember KSI as well. I don't follow his boxing record, but I'm pretty sure if I got it up in front of me on the computer now, I'm pretty sure he's only beat a YouTuber in Swarms, the rapper, right? The YouTuber he elbowed, and I know he did like 2 fights in one night. Again, one of them, that Panini guy, I don't know, but he fought that guy, another guy, Swarms, or was that the same night? Either way, he's not really beat anyone that's, I mean, look, Swarms got knocked out in 17 seconds by a guy called Ed Matthews, who had 2 days notice. Like, yeah, I mean, that's no bragging rights. What I have found quite bizarre as well is everyone promoting KSI, making him believe that he is, you know, this elite athlete. I sound like such a hater. I'm not meaning to be a hater. I'm sure KSI is a great guy, but he is just not that guy. He is not the elite athlete. Well, he is an elite athlete, maybe. He's committed himself to boxing, but when it comes to actual boxing, I'm quite confident that you could walk into 5 or 6 ABCs here in Liverpool, Manchester, anywhere in the Northwest, and, you know, they'll be able to win KSI in the amateurs over 3-2s. And again, that's no disrespect to KSI. I feel like such a hater. It's just the way that everyone's saying, JJ, you've won this, or JJ, you know, you were the much better fighter. It reminds me very much of the Logan Paul saying, you know, I took the greatest boxer of all time 8 rounds. One, I think Floyd was 155 on the night or something. Either way, there was a massive weight difference. 2, I truly believe that you went the distance because Floyd wanted you to go the distance. And I believe that same thing with McGregor as well. I think, you know, Floyd let McGregor go that long. If he wanted to get him out of there, he potentially, or could have, would have. But he didn't. He was patient. He got caught with 1 or 2 shots, yes. And then he got McGregor out of there in the later rounds when he knew he would be tired, and he put on, you know, he pushed the pace. The same thing with Logan. It was an exhibition. Is it an achievement? Yes. Have I done it? No. You know, are you a billionaire? Yes. Am I a billionaire? No. But I'm a huge boxing fan. And you went 8 rounds, or Logan went 8 rounds with one of the greatest to ever box inside the ring, because he let him. And it's not like he was fighting like Floyd Mayweather, who prepares for Pacquiao. And I'm talking about Money May. If Pretty Boy Floyd was in there with Logan, it would have been game over. I think Money May knew what he was doing, and he let Logan go that long. So is it an achievement? Yes. But should you brag about going 8 rounds with the greatest of all time? I don't believe so, because I think that you truly know as a man, look, I'm nowhere near Floyd, and if he wanted me out there, he could have got me out of there. So that's kind of, you know, my first video to YouTube, guys. Sorry for blabbering on. What do I think is next for KSI? I think he should fight Jake Paul. I would be interested to see what Jake Paul would do with that, if Jake Paul would also struggle with that very, strange style. The Idris Virgo guy as well, who was saying KSI, was going to knock Tommy Fury out. He's given me an headache in sparring and all this stuff. I mean, he was starting with Mike Perry. I mean, I'm actually very grateful we didn't get to see that fight. And he should also be very grateful, because you can just tell that someone's not about it. Mike Perry walks up to him on stage, and the first thing that Idris does is take his top off and, get caught with his t-shirt and mic above his head, and then wait for the security to start stepping in to start then throwing his weight about. He's very lucky that, when he was doing his old Body Beautiful Baywatch scene, that Mike Perry just didn't either take him down and elbow him to death, choke him out, or just put a big right hand on his chin. And the fact that he was saying, KSI is going to do this, I'm not sure kind of what that says about his boxing ability as well. Both guys did amazing. Anyone on the night who got in the ring is, a warrior for stepping in the ring. I truly do believe that. Talking boxing is one thing, getting in the ring is completely different. It's why I also think, I've done fight camps, but it's also why I think sometimes when I watch people do videos and they talk about, oh, well, why didn't he just do this? You've never been 8 rounds into a fight where you've given it your all and your arms are lead, your legs feel like they're weak, your chest and your heart feel like it's burning, not to mention the heat from the arena. You've now got the pressure and the adrenaline going, you feel exhausted. It's very easy to sit there on Twitter and say, I don't know why he's not throwing that, overhand right or whatever it may be, than actually being there 8 rounds in. It's completely different. So I thank anyone that got in the ring that night and put on a show. Even Dillon, Logan, KSI even, as I said, I'm not hating on KSI. I just don't believe that he is how he describes himself to be. And I don't believe that he won the fight. But he got in the ring. He sold out an arena. He's hopefully inspired tens of thousands of people and the younger generation to get into boxing. One thing that I will say about Misfits is that, I'm going to be at the Liverpool show this weekend for Linares and Jack Catterall. That event will not have hardly anyone in the seats at 6:30. Everyone will wait for the main events. You've got Campbell Atten on that undercard. You'll get some people there. You'll get your hardcores like myself in the event, watching every fight from beginning to end. That event that Misfits and DAZN have just done on Saturday night, it was pretty much every chair in the building was occupied from 6:30 onwards. Even the prelims, other than I think pretty much every fight from the Astrid Wet fight, is what, like, there was a huge crowd. You don't get that in real boxing. So hopefully it's inspired tens of thousands of other people to go to a boxing gym to actually learn the craft, and actually, potentially pursue boxing as either a hobby or something that they would love to commit their life to. And I'm excited to see the pay-per-view numbers. If they've broken records, congratulations to those guys. Apparently I wasn't there all week, but how Misfits and DAZN and everyone involved had done the media workouts and actually done everything. I've not heard anyone speak badly of how it was all set up and established. So fair play to the guys. Let's get KSI versus Jake Paul. Tommy Fury, I'm not quite sure what I want to see from him next. I think the Jake Paul match makes sense if the KSI and Jake Paul doesn't go ahead. Otherwise, maybe he's not going to get the same money, but maybe get him onto a Queensbury or Matchroom show, have him fight someone that's upcoming. I don't think the Vidal fight makes sense, to be honest, but just have him go against the boxer. That being said, if he's just made 5 million, which is what I've been told, in just payment from DAZN and Misfits, not to mention his air up sponsorships, and if he gets pay-per-view numbers as well, he's probably just going to want to enjoy some time with his family, train hard with Tyson, and maybe wait for an opportunity to come up in this space. I know that's what I would be doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you want to like and subscribe, please do. I would like to make more of these videos. I've got a business that I run. This is just a hobby for me, but if there was a way that I could pursue my passion in boxing full time and still do what I do in my business, then I would 100% do that. So, you know, I'm excited to see if that is going to be possible. So I won't ramble on. Like and subscribe. Please comment. I'd love to speak with anyone that's got a passion for boxing. I'm also on Twitter. I am Dan Luke on Twitter. And yeah, hopefully I can do more of these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.